Hello, guys. TehJew22 here, and well, I'm just making this video before I go to bed, at least where I am, and I um, just wanted to talk about a few things about how I feel. Now, I don't feel bad, just so you know, and also hello, Elmeister. I don't feel bad so much for me, but about several things that have been bothering me. And if you've been keeping up with what's going on Twitter and maybe even the world in general, I'm not so much. It's nothing. It has little to do with the current climate that we are in, um, and that in itself is probably bad enough. But I think the one thing that bothers me the most has to do with people that do what they love and yet they get so much hate for it. In one case, that person just doesn't want to deal with the bull crap anymore, and then the other person just practically took her life. Hana Komura is the one who died, and then the other person, I forget her name, but she is referred to as the Skyrim grandma. In that I think she's like 82 years old, and she was playing Skyrim, and then she had just about enough of the people who were very critical and things like that, that she just had to just stay away for a while. So as far as uh as far as the Skyrim grandma, um if somehow you're listening to this, I don't think you are, but if you were, just know that you just do what you do. And I want to say the same thing to anyone who's watching this. You do what you do. As long as you're not hurting anybody. I really, if you're not hurting anyone, you should just do what you do. You know, uh, that isn't to say if it's illegal you should do it. No, you shouldn't. But if you love something if you do what you love and you love doing it, do it. Don't let anyone else take away the joy that you have whenever you do something like play Mario Kart, Mario Party, um, Uno, Monopoly, Fortune Street. What else? Fortnite, Skyrim, World of Warcraft, any game that you could probably think of. If you love playing those games, you play it. But it just, but, and in the case of wrestling, if you love doing that, you do what you do. You know, and when I saw what happened with Hana Komura and the fact that I just could not believe that there were people that would say the things they said. And Elmeister, that in itself was just so bad, and then the fact that she took her own life just made it even worse. So Elm, I think what I really feel is just sad, and not so much for me, but for several people there. The fact that it's like, why do people do these things? It's like, how could you live with yourself, especially after what Hana Komura ended up doing? She committed suicide, is what she did. And while those people should burn in hell for it, I feel for the community at large who did love her, and I think what also sad about the whole thing is that she didn't know how much she was loved. Like, I didn't know much about her until later on, but it saddens me. And and then of course when I read about the Skyrim grandma, like, I didn't know about this until I saw tweets about it. That's what happened. So, yeah, that's what's wrong. I know that there was one person who bullied Ozzy last week just because Oz was a furry, and that was low class. Yeah, I can understand. I can totally see, people making fun of people that love furry anthropomorphic animals. That's what someone who loves anthropomorphic I can't even say it. Humanoid type animals, or animals that have human tendencies, like Care Bears, or even the pony from My Little Pony, Girls of Equestria. I only know that just because my youngest cousin, loves that show, and she shared it with me. So I was like, oh, okay. And also my sister, enjoying the Friendship is Magic series before she left to form her own family. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was not too happy about what that person did to Ozzy, and I have to imagine, Elm, you must have been, you know, bullied, and I had to imagine you had to have been bullied at some point, because it's like, I mean, there's bullying, and then there's taking it way too far, and that's what happened with Hana Komura, and I'm thankful in the case of the Skyrim grandma. She has a proper name. I just forgot it. And but that's what she's known for. She's known as. And I'm also happy that Oz realizes that there's gonna be haters out there. Haters are gonna hate. But unfortunately for Hanakomura, it was just too much. My only wish was that she knew how much she was loved. I've been bullied in fourth grade. Well, if I may ask, um, and those people were low class. I was just about to ask, but Elmeister, you've turned out well. I think you turned out really well for yourself, and I want to say that you know, and by no stretch are you perfect, because no one is. I'm not perfect, but I like to think that although people made fun of you for being a piece of coal, but when you squeeze that piece of coal well and under enough heat and pressure, that piece of coal turns into a diamond, and you are a diamond, or whatever other jewel that you wish to be. But but still, but that's kind of like a metaphor. Like, in other words, they picked on you because you were the ugly duckling, and now you're a swan, or some other metaphor I could think of. But that sort of thing should never really happen, and it does. And but then there's taking it way too far, and that one, that's what hurt me the most. And I've been bullied too, and oh, even better, you're a star. In fact, if I can I? Oh, okay, I can't. I can't. Too bad I can't send a message while I'm streaming on my phone. And I don't know who else is here, but oh, thank you. You know, and Elm, there's too bad. It's just sad that there's not enough Elmeisters in the world. Well, and I mean like people that have a kind heart and someone who goes out of their way to be your friend. There's not very many people like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's also your Tan Mans, or your Johns and Fries, and several other people, but um, but much like Mr. Rogers always said, I like you just as you are. And you know, I always give a lot of flack to I know sometimes I give a lot of flack to someone like Red Hood, or there's not many Judge Judys in the world either. Yeah, Judge Judy is someone who doesn't take mess from anyone really. But yeah, as I said, I may give some people a lot of flack sometimes, but someone like Red Hood, I mean, I just I know that he's young and he's only going to get better, and I could probably say the same thing about a lot of other people that are young but just don't know what they're doing until they have to be taught. Um, so yeah, for the young guys, they have to go through a lot of growing pains and a lot of terrible things in order for them to grow. And is it sad? Yes, but I had to go through that myself. But then there's too far, like Hana Komura, and I know I've been talking about Hana Komura, but for those who don't know, she was a professional wrestler, and even though she started at a very young age, but then again she's from Japan, and usually they start as young as maybe 15, and go on to be there for like until their mid 30s or early 40s or somewhere in there. But Hana was only 22 when she committed suicide, and it was like, for me that was something that for me that's what soured the mood, and and that's kind of also what's been eating at me. And also it also reminded me of something similar, but with the dynamic reversed in terms of well, in the case of Hana, a lot of people were bullying her, but but the only difference is I'm not famous. You know, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not famous, and I'm not trying to be famous. If I do become famous, great, but I'm not going to go out of my way to become it. But but like but like the old saying goes, more money, more problems. That's just what it is. So, if there's anyone who wants to ask me something, you're more than welcome to ask me. Uh, as far as how you feel and things like that. And I think the one thing that hurt me that has uh, that has put things in perspective is just and I guess I could mention well, it's like the old saying goes, you don't know what you have until it's gone, and you also don't know what you have until you can't do it anymore. Like, I remember I loved watching sports when I was a little kid. Though to be fair, there wasn't really much going on when I was younger. But I used to love watching baseball, basketball, football, and hockey. I mean, you name it, I watched it, and it was so fun watching it. And while it puts into perspective how much I miss watching sports, it only made it much more sweeter when I found out that the NHL was going to come back, albeit with behind closed doors and with no attendance and things like that. And I thought, as crazy as this is, I mean, it's definitely something to be happy about. And I know that, of course, it's not going to be the same as having people, but it is definitely something there. But but so yeah, there's a lot of happiness, but then but I mean, there's a lot of sadness, but there's also a lot of happiness in the as well. So there's that. So Elmeister or whoever else is here. I just wanted to get in. I just really wanted to get that off my chest. That if you if you ever need help from me, you just call up your big bro, and I will do my best to help you. That doesn't necessarily mean I'll always be there because I might have other things to do. But if I'm there, I will. But if I'm available, I will be there. And you could always call on me, and I will be there as soon as I can. That because that's what brothers and that's what best friends do. And I wanna, and I just want to be there for you, my friend, or whoever else is watching this. And then what else? For well, I guess the only thing I can say to close this out is stay safe, stay healthy, and wash your hands, and um, sleep as much as you can, and also um, exercise as much as you can. And hey, what's up, John? Okay, so I mentioned this to Elmeister, but I may as well quickly mention it. So I was not watching, but rather reading up on Twitter, and I don't know if you know of Hana Komura, but she was a professional wrestler who was getting a lot of was being bullied based on the way she looked, and it was so much that she took her own life. And something similar also happened with I forget her name, her proper name, but she is known as the Skyrim grandma, as she is 82 years old and she's playing Skyrim and is quite good at it actually. But the fact that she went into exile about 3 weeks ago, simply for the fact that much like Hana Komura, she was bullied, and like Hana was bullied based on her look and maybe nationality or whatever. But then the grandma was bullied based on her age, and I just thought that was just I just don't know where to begin really. I just don't know, why does that happen? And also, hey, Lashana, what's up? Um so yeah, I was just talking about how, there's so many people that, bully others, and then they cause them to do one of several things. I mean, they either cause them to just not even care about what they were doing, or number two, in a much worse case, kill themselves. And I'm referring to Hana Komura, who passed away because of it. But on the other hand, then there were some that still saddened me, but not as much as Hana Komura, and that was Shad Gaspard, who um, I'm not sure what happened, but he died. But before he did, he saved his son before before getting consumed by the waves or the shore or however it happened. I can't really. He got caught in a riptide. Okay, so thank you for correcting me on that. He got caught in a riptide and he wasn't seen until he was drowned and done. So yeah, that's happened to me because it's like from what many people have talked about. I mean, he seemed like a great man, and it was just as sad when I heard about when Kobe Bryant died and his daughter. You know, it's like sometimes I can never understand anything anymore. You know, it's like it's just so. But I guess there are just some things I can never understand, and maybe I never will. Um, but yeah, the reason I brought those things up was just because, not to say that I've been through it, but that I know how it feels. I know how it feels to just be judged, and it just pisses me off. It really does. It's just I'm at a loss for words. But with this, I do want to say, keep doing what you do. Be yourself. And don't let the haters steal your joy. And that in fact that's exactly what my good friend the Broken Twitch or Broken Gaming Network always said, and Lashana, you know this. Don't let anyone steal your joy. And that's really what I want to tell you guys. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't have fun because you should. Now, of course, there's always a time for everything. There's a time for playing, and then there's a time for working. And of course, you have to fulfill your obligations. There's that, but for the most part, enjoy what you do. And also, hello, Naji. So yeah, Naji, I don't know if let's see. Of course, like my friend Dip Gaming said, may your heart be your guiding key. Yes. So yeah, may your heart be your guiding key, but definitely guard your heart sometimes, or yeah, or not guard your heart, but just guard it from anyone who wants to hurt it. And and but anyway, Naji, I hope you are doing all right, my friend. And but yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely miss Rick. Definitely. I miss him. He was definitely a good man, and he just lived. He lived a. He was definitely a good man, and also Lucky. Nice to see you. The thing is, I know about this man much more than the average person that might know him, which is not very much, to be quite honest with you. The only thing I can tell you was that Rick, despite everything go working against him, he was determined to make it work. Unfortunately, he died due to overwhelming stress, not just with the fact that he had to pay the bills, but because of the general climate, even before, and I'm talking about, politically and everything going on with all the bullshit politics and things like that, which I guess, if nothing else, that only just contributed, but really it was the stress of trying to make enough money just to keep, just to make ends meet, so to speak. So that's what I'm trying to get at. He died from that, and it's not like I couldn't give him any money. I really couldn't, or if I could, whatever I gave, it probably wouldn't have been enough. All I could do was just support him and just simply say, "Hey, things are going to turn up for the best." Unfortunately, um, it was probably a bit late. I don't know what happened, but like I don't know exactly when he passed he passed out and passed away, but I think the saddest part about Rick was the fact that he died a lonely man. At least with Hanna Komura, people loved her. There were people that did love her, and unfortunately, she listened to the wrong people. She listened to the people that hated her or would tell her bad things. It's like, but for Rick, other than myself and maybe a couple of people that knew about him, for all intents and purposes, he died a lonely man. And for all I know, he could have died of a broken heart. So yeah, I still miss him. I could probably say the same thing about um, Jose, but I think the two people that miss him just as much as I do include the likes of Brandon Cuevas and JT Price. Those two guys, besides myself, were closer to him than anyone else I could think of. I mean, John, you've known about Rick from the things we talked about him, and so yeah. Of course, this entire broadcast was not to bore you to tears or make you cry crocodile tears, because that's not what I'm trying to get at. The real reason was because I was just bothered by so much of this negativity, and while I understand that there's nothing we can do to overcome the negativity in terms of you know it's gonna happen, but we can always spread the positivity, and it starts with me, and it starts with you guys too. So I mean, for Lucky, it could be as simple as just simply saying hello. For John, for so many years, it was always the McGrumps. And even though that series is done, he's still going to do things like Sunday Fun Day and whatever else he intends to do. And I'm definitely looking forward to that. But I definitely loved all the times that we did the McGrumps. And then there's Lashana Chan, who is who's a very well cultured lady. You're very well cultured when it comes to games and television series. I mean, it's it's incredible. And then Naji, you're just a straight up good guy, man. You always considered me a friend, and I consider you a friend as well. And you're a great friend to many other people. And then there's Elmeister, who's always been a great friend. And because of my dad and mom, and that's another thing. I'm happy that my mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. TehJew, uh, they were wonderful people. Plus, I watched and observed the things I watch. Yeah, that's what makes you you. That's definitely. One thing. So I will end. So to end this on a happy note, on a positive note, the best thing for me to do is to learn from these examples. Even though I have been struggling a bit with not being able to go out to places to see my people and do things. Well, of course, it's been a while. It's man, dude, it's been 2.5 months since I got to legitimately go to a church service with people in praise and worship. I miss that. I also miss, going to a nice restaurant and just enjoying the food and just enjoying the meal here. And I think you just summed it up right there. Don't let anyone steal. I think you meant to say steal your joy and happiness and try to rest yourself. And I will, definitely. So there is there is maybe one other thing that bothers me, but I think that should be really its own video. And and given um and given this anyway, I appreciate TJ. You said I'm a good friend. You're always a nice person that ways finds ways to be positive. You remind me of Ohm Wrecker. Oh well, thank you, Lashana Chan, or Lashana. I'll just call you Lashana. But Ohm Wrecker. I don't know much about Ohm Wrecker, other than maybe he's a nice person. But otherwise, to be compared to him, I'm like, I appreciate the praise, but I don't know if well, maybe I don't know. Then again, I've never watched any of his videos, so how can I even say that I'm even half as good as he is? Lala Chan. Alright, I'll call you Lala Chan, is fine. Okay. Lashana Chan. But anyway, what I was about to say was, that's not to say I doubt my abilities, because I know I'm good. I know I'm great at what I do. As a YouTuber who has a really generous community. Well, on second thought, maybe I am half as good as he is. Because I always try my best to look out for those within my community with my fun house on Discord, and I do try to make my content fun and awesome. That's the one thing that makes me happy the most, and I think that's the one thing that's uh, keeping me happy more or less, and but it's also because of you guys, like John and several others. I mean, you guys have made me very happy, and if I didn't have you guys, I probably would have, quit or done something else. What I would have done, I don't know. And what I would have done during the shutdown, who knows what I would be doing? I mean, yeah, I might play some games here or there, but for the most part, what can I do? But because of you guys, I love what I do, and that's really all that matters to me. So I wanted to leave on that note. So I shall get some rest, and and I want to say thank you for the kind words. Definitely want to thank you for that. And if you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, you can DM me. And if I don't answer, it's probably because I'm asleep. But until then, this is the Blue Toad saying good night or at least where I'm at. It could be morning from where you are, or whenever you're watching this. And God bless, best wishes, and have a good night. Peace.